Welcome. Accurate Biometrics has created this video to assist the non-criminal justice community on how to read the various parts of the Illinois State Police Criminal History Record Information Rap Sheet. If the response to your applicant's fingerprint-based background check resulted in a hit, a Criminal History Record Information Rap Sheet will be sent to the requesting agency from the Illinois State Police, normally within 24 hours. Please note that the majority of non-criminal justice agencies are only permitted by law to review conviction information only. The entire criminal history rap sheet can normally be viewed by the individual themselves, the criminal justice community, and certain legislatively authorized state agencies. If you are an individual wishing to review your entire criminal history information rap sheet, we have added instructional information on the last slide of this presentation. The Illinois rap sheet is comprised of 3 sections: the header information, followed by the subject identifiers, and lastly, the criminal history data. Let's begin with the header information, which appears at the top of the very first page. First, we have the subject's name field. Notice the words "last known name" in parentheses. For those subjects using multiple names, this is the name the subject is most recently using and used at the time of his or her latest arrest event. The applicant name used will appear in the identifier section on the cover page, which will appear prior to the rap sheet in your response package. To the right, we have the subject's state identification number. The state identification number, or better known as SID, is assigned to the subject by the Illinois State Police upon their receipt of the very first set of fingerprints. All future fingerprints for this subject will be posted to the same SID, comprising the subject's rap sheet. The conviction status is compiled from the outcome of the subject's reported final court dispositions. For example, you may see felony convictions. This tells you at a quick glance that the subject is a convicted felon. On the other hand, you may see a notice of misdemeanor convictions, which tells you at a quick glance that the subject has had no disposition reported to the Illinois State Police other than misdemeanors. If you see any type of notification next to the custodial status field, this tells you the subject has been received at some point in time into a county jail or the Department of Corrections. Followed to the right by the most recent date of this or these occurrences. At the bottom of the header section, we have listed all alias names utilized by the subject. It has been reported by the Illinois State Police that the average criminal uses 7 alias names. The last field in the header section contains all dates of birth utilized and reported for the subject. All of the header information is a snapshot in time when the rap sheet was produced and is subject to update with future rap sheets, excluding the subject's SID, which will always remain the same. The subject identifier section contains the subject's sex, race, height, weight, eye color, hair color, and skin tone. Being that a subject's height and weight fluctuate, the date reported adjacent the height and weight reports the most recent date this information was posted. 2 additional identifiers that may or may not be present is the subject's FBI number and the Chicago IR number. As long as a set of fingerprints was forwarded to the FBI will issue an FBI number. This holds true for the City of Chicago. If the subject was arrested at any time in Cook County, Illinois, a Chicago IR number is initiated by the City of Chicago. Both the FBI and Chicago IR numbers serve the same purpose to the FBI and the Chicago Police Department as the SID number serves the Illinois State Police. The Scars, Marks, and Tattoo field will contain an abbreviated version of the applicant's noted scars, marks, and tattoos, or SMTs, at the time of arrest. The place of birth field will contain the state or country reported at the time of arrest. Please note, the rap sheet may contain multiple places of birth. The driver's license number field and driver's license state field may or may not contain the subject's DLN and DLS, if provided. The Social Security number, if given at the time of arrest, will be included in this field. It should be noted that multiple Social Security numbers may also be listed if multiple Social Security numbers were provided at the time of arrest. The miscellaneous number is an identifying military number issued identifying the specific branch of military the subject was assigned to. This field, too, is optional. Palm prints available will contain the name of the agency who may have captured the subject's palm prints. Likewise, the photo available field will contain the name of the arresting agency where a photo of the subject was taken and available for investigative purposes. The IDOC field, or the Illinois Department of Corrections field, will only be present if the subject was held in county jail or incarcerated in the Department of Corrections. Adjacent to the IDOC field is the INS field, or Immigration and Naturalization Number. This field may or may not contain the Immigration and Naturalization Number if captured and reported at the time of arrest. The last two fields in the identifier section is the subject's occupation and employer, along with the date reported, as employers can often be changed. Over the next several slides, we will explain to you how to read the criminal history data portion of the Illinois rap sheet. The criminal history data section of the rap sheet contains two main categories, the first being the arrest cycle, followed by the custodial cycle. The arrest cycle is comprised of the arrest charge section, followed by the state's attorney section, and lastly, the court disposition section. The arrest cycle posting begins with the DCN, or also known as the document control number. The document control number is a unique identifier assigned to every arrest and is used at a later stage of the cycle to link the state's attorney filing and court disposition. Then we have the date of arrest. This is the actual date the subject was arrested and taken into custody. The name field contains the name provided by the subject at the time of arrest. Keep in mind the arrestee may not have been in possession of any identifying data at the time of arrest and may use any name they choose or chosen by the arresting agency. Next, we have the subject's provided date of birth, followed by the current resident of the subject if this could be determined. Not all arrest cycles will contain a resident address. The next field is the name of the arresting agency, followed by the NCIC or National Crime Information Center assigned originating agency identifier, or better known as ORI. The agency case number appearing on the next line is a mandatory field and will always be present. You may see this field populated with the letter X if no agency case number was reported to the Illinois State Police. The officer's badge number may or may not appear on the subject's rap sheet. The photo available field in this section just documents with a yes or a no if the subject's photo was taken. The next section of the arrest cycle is the arrest charge section. The first field is noted by the count of offense, count 1, count 2, count 3, etc. The rap sheet then shows the statute citation, which is the legal numeric value of what the subject was arrested for. The statute citation is made up of 3 sections. The charge section, being 720 in this example rap sheet, Act, being 5.0 as shown here, and Article being 9.1. For more information on the individual charge the subject was arrested for, please visit the Illinois General Assembly website at www.ilga.gov and click on the Illinois Compiled Statute link. To the right of the statute citation is the written literal description of the charge, this example being murder. The next field is called the inchoate offense field, or CSAOD, to better understand this field. If you see a C in this field, this stands for the word conspiracy, or conspiring to commit the crime. S for soliciting, A for attempt, D for drug, offense related, or O stands for offense cited as is. O is what you will see most often in this field. The class of offense field being one of the most important fields called the class of offense. The class of offense field will help you determine if the subject was arrested for a felony or a misdemeanor. A felony is always a more harsh class of offense than a misdemeanor. To easier understand this category, at the top of the slide, we have shown you the felony and misdemeanor categories. If you see a 1, 2, 3, 4, X, or M, those classes belong to the felony category. If you see a class A, B, or C, those fall into the misdemeanor category. The last line on the arrest charge section contains the arrest type and the date of offense. The arrest type will most often state on-view arrest, but may show a warrant if the arrest was a result of being picked up by some type of in-state or out-of-state warrant issued. The last field being the date of offense, which is the date the actual offense occurred. This date will always be on or before the date of arrest. Now we will go over the state's attorney portion of the Illinois rap sheet. Many of the fields in this section are duplicate to those in the arrest cycle. We will go over the new fields added to this cycle of events. First, make note that not always will you see a state's attorney section posted on the rap sheet. The state's attorney filing decision will only appear on the rap sheet if it was reported to the Illinois State Police. The first field you should note is the filing decision. This field represents the action taken by the state's attorney for each charge. In this case, the state's attorney filed the case. The filing decisions you can see here are filed, not filed, modified, or added. The state's attorney can choose to file a case, not file a case, modify a case, or add a charge to a case. To the right of the filing decision, you will see the date the state's attorney made this decision. All other fields located on the state's attorney section were explained as part of the arrest cycle. In the sample provided here, the state's attorney added a second count for the charge of attempted murder. We will now move on to the Circuit Court Clerk's Court Disposition section. It is important to know that the subject will almost always report to the state's attorney or the Circuit Court Clerk's office in the county where the original arrest took place. As with the state's attorney section, many of the fields present in the court disposition section are also duplicate to those of the arrest cycle. we will go over the new fields added to the disposition cycle of events. Also note that you may not always see a court disposition section posted on the rap sheet. For those entities authorized to see conviction information only, a disposition will always be present. For those entities authorized to view the entire criminal history rap sheet, the rap sheet may contain an open arrest where a final court disposition was not reported. In those cases, the authorized entity would be required to contact the circuit court clerk where the arrest took place in order to obtain the final court disposition if it is available. The first field we should note here is the case of the disposition. This field represents the action taken by the circuit court. In the first case, the individual was found guilty for the charge of murder. There are many court disposition outcomes you may see in this field: guilty, not guilty, SOL, or stricken off with leave to reinstate at a later date, just to name a few. To the right of the disposition decision is the final court disposition date. Beneath the disposition of the case, if required, you will find a sentence section. In the situation where the case was dismissed or the individual was found not guilty, there would be no sentence to follow. In the sentence section, you will find the status of the disposition, and in most cases, you will see sentenced to. But you may also see consecutive or concurrent if the sentence was to run consecutively or concurrently with another case. To the right of the sentence status is the actual sentence imposed on the subject. For example, sentenced to county jail, supervision, the Department of Corrections, home confinement, etc. This field will also contain the term of the sentence. In this example, the subject was sentenced to 10 years in the Department of Corrections. To the right of the sentence field, you will see any fine imposed on the individual. Note that a fine alone in Illinois is also considered a conviction. And lastly, you will see the date the subject was sentenced. In the example shown here, count 2 of attempted murder, which was the added state's attorney charge, the subject was found not guilty. We will now move on to the custodial cycle of the Illinois rap sheet. If the subject spent time in the Department of Corrections or was sentenced to a county jail, you will see information in the custodial cycle portion of the rap sheet. The fields here in this cycle are very similar to those present in the arrest cycle of the rap sheet. The custodial cycle is comprised of 2 sections, the first being the custodial receipt section, followed by the custodial status section. Additional fields in the receipt section include the name of the county jail or the Department of Corrections the subject was received into, the date of receipt, the charge and term for which the subject was sentenced into, and lastly, the custodial status section will include any status changes, of which there can be multiple, such as discharges, transfers, and receipts into other correctional institutions. Accurate Biometrics would like to thank you for taking the time to review this video. Should you have any questions on any of the content included here, please contact us toll-free at 866-361-9944 or visit our website at www.accuratebiometrics.com to chat live with one of our customer support representatives, or search our website for any additional questions you may have. Additional training videos can also be viewed via the Accurate Biometrics website.